Yeah, that's right. It's a Cyclone State, baby. The Cyhawk was won for the second year in a row. First time at home since 2011. Man, what a game it was. It was an awful game, just like them all. I swear, Iowa State Athletics needs to start sponsoring some heart medication for us. Got this bucket hat. Getting festive, I think it's a good time to celebrate. It was a ground and pound win, but we prevailed, just like I thought we would. Look at that. Well, otherwise, the Big 12 did okay, and then they didn't. It was a bit of back and forth. It was a beautiful day, though. I enjoyed spending my Saturday morning in the grass lots, tailgating, coming back home, watching football. So, without further ado, I'll jump into it this week. We're doing it on ESPN, so it's going to be a white background. Flashbang warning. I'm going to switch on over. For some reason, BetStamp wouldn't show my other games. Anything after noon on Saturday, so we're starting here. And we're just going to breeze through it. Fantasy football, we're not going to talk about. Both my teams got stomped for whatever reason. So not a good start. Lost. I'm 0-2 in week 1 across both my leagues. So this is kind of cool. We get some more stats with ESPN, so we might just switch to ESPN over BetStamp. I believe this is the first Big 12 matchup game for pretty much any team. That's not Iowa State, Kansas State, which, let me say, after beating Kansas State and Iowa State, I am, not thinking that our wins are as powerful as I once did. Kansas State sucks. They suck. What the heck? Why? How do they suck so bad? And then Iowa is Iowa. We'll get into them a little bit too. Overall, Colorado and Houston. I know Colorado won the other week, and it was a good win, but I think Houston's going to take this fine. Houston isn't that great. I feel like this is a battle of the suck. I'm now just seeing the spread. It's cool. You can see where they opened at. As I've mentioned before, I'm going to be anti-Colorado, and I'm going to stick to that sentiment. So, down with Dion. That's a Friday night game. This is also a Friday night game. Kansas State and Arizona. I would be saying Kansas State all the way, but they just suck. They lost to Army last week, and they were supposed to win by like 17. They lost to Army. They didn't do anything. It looks like this game, Kansas State's a slight favorite. Arizona's at home. Who knows how they're going to travel. Friday night game. It's a little weirder than a Saturday game. I mean, obviously, as an Iowa State fan, you have to root for Kansas State to win as much as they can because of our win against them. They're supposed to be, it's still a rivalry game that we won, but they're supposed to be one of the best teams in the conference. They're last. Obviously, because they lost. They're the only people who have lost a conference game, but they're 1-2. I'm just so disappointed in them. Solid team. I'd like Kansas State to win by more than like 2 touchdowns, but beggars can't be choosers. I don't know why I have this. Oregon. Someone wanted to see Oregon. Clearly they're going to win. Northwestern sucks. This is on a Big Ten travel thing, though. For teams traveling 2 or more time zones, there were some trends last year. I don't remember what they are exactly. But teams traveling 2 or more time zone, I believe it's west to east. So in this case, they don't cover the spread as much, I believe. I'll check. I'll tell you next week. But obviously, there's not much to talk about there. Oregon's going to take it. Again, same with the person who requested Michigan. I think you're going to be all fine and dandy. There is not much to worry about with Central Michigan Chippewas. Early morning game. Obviously, Michigan can probably beat just about anybody Obviously not. Iowa State would beat them. But a 27-point spread is a 27-point spread. This should not be a worry. I imagine that they cover that. Baylor, who had a good win. Let's see, I forgot who they beat. SMU, that's right. They had a good win against SMU. This was one of the good parts of the Big 12 this past weekend. Kansas State losing was awful, and then we'll get to another one. Another awful game. Baylor, bright spot. Hoping they won. They did win. They pulled it off against SMU, a good SMU team. And Samford is not a football team. Obviously, with a 99% chance to win. There is no spread on this game as far as I'm aware. So, whatever the spread is, I think Baylor will cover it. Not much to say about that. Keep that momentum going, Baylor. Dave Aranda lives to see another day. Texas Tech and Oregon State. Love Oregon State. Rest in peace, the Pac-12. But the Texas Tech Red Raiders are going to shoot them up. I'm high on Texas Tech still. I think they're going to be a great team this year. Not much to worry about with Oregon State. Pac-12, big travel for them. But hopefully Texas Tech can cover. Spread's gone down a little bit, obviously, from 24 to 22. But, I'm high on Texas Tech. I hope they can cover it and more. Somebody wanted Alabama. I added them in slightly after. Wisconsin, I believe, sucks. They almost lost to Miami of Ohio at the start of the season. I don't know who they played last week. Let's see. They're traveling to Alabama, but I don't know who that is. Okay, clearly they're fine. But they almost lost to Miami of Ohio. Wisconsin's always streaky. Alabama is, has fallen from grace, but I don't think much can be done for Wisconsin against them. I think they'll be fine against Wisconsin is what I'm trying to say. It'd be great if Wisconsin covered. I would love to see Alabama fall further. Sorry, whoever requested Alabama. Oh, man. I'm going to miss this game. I'm busy this weekend, but this is one of my favorite games of the year. This game is always entertaining. West Virginia, no matter how good or bad they are, which is usually bad, this is always a close game. This is one of those really fun rivalry games to watch. Last year was super entertaining. This year it's in West Virginia in Morgantown. The spread always seems to be about a touchdown, at least in my memory. It always seems to be bigger than it should be because West Virginia always sucks. And then it's always close in the end. And it's always an entertaining, very emotional, and sometimes violent game to watch. I would recommend at the 2:30 window. I don't know what other games are on, but this is a super fun game to watch, always. I'm going to root for West Virginia, as always. Beat Pitt. But we'll see. I don't know where Northwestern State is, but obviously Cincinnati's not great. Southland, okay. Cincinnati's not great. I believe they had a good win, though, last week. Bowling Green, okay, maybe not the greatest win, but they still played well against Nebraska. Played decent. They won last week, so that's good. They're not as low as they could be right now. I don't think Cincinnati's going to be great, but, they're okay. They're going to be fine against Northwestern State. Another game with no spread is all you need to know. The victors, the 3-0, I don't know. I don't think there's much to worry about with this game. I hope that we can win by more than 3 touchdowns. That's the spread right now. It'd be great if we could see our boys sling it out some more right before Big 12 conference play starts. Really keep this momentum going, really ground and pound. Work on the defense a little bit. The defense could be better. Obviously, they did good against Iowa, but Iowa didn't pass the ball very much. Iowa sucks. We'll get to them in 2 games, but I think just working on some momentum, maintaining, keeping the fundamentals there. Last time we went on a road game against a whatever school, we lost to Ohio and woke ourselves up. It says it's going to be 99 degrees for this game, so that's going to be miserable. Get weather adjusted, I guess. I'm not too worried. I'm not going to be able to watch this game. This is at the same time as West Virginia and Pitt. I forgot the name of that game, but honestly, I would rather watch West Virginia and Pitt than this. I'm going to not watch either of them, not by my choice, but I'll be checking in on both of their scores. This one we shouldn't have to worry about too much, though. Mizzou, who unfortunately just beat Kansas in the Civil War Bowl. Great stuff to come from that rivalry. I don't think there's going to be much there with the Raging Cajuns, but Mizzou is now ranked 25 apparently. Big spread. Hopefully next week, once all the conference play starts, there's going to be more to talk about than just big spread. We know what happens. It's a 95% chance to win. I don't know much about Mizzou. I'm guessing after their win against Kansas, this line has tanked up to 5 points difference in the opening spread. I'm surprised that the spread has gone up while the total has gone down. But, Iowa shouldn't be a issue against UMass. UMass must be really, really bad to have a 35-point spread on Iowa. If I was me, and I am me, I would go and bet UMass plus 35. And that is solely on the belief that Iowa cannot score 36 points, without UMass scoring at all. I don't see Iowa's offense being, having more than a half of a heartbeat. And this last game against Iowa State really solidified it. Obviously, rival game. They weren't great against Albany. They can run the ball because that's all they can do. They don't let Gronowski throw it. And I don't think Gronowski is bad by any means. He's a champion, a two-time champion in the FCS level. He's like 50 wins and 7 losses. But they're just not letting him. It's a Kirk Ferentz team. They're not letting him do anything. So I would bet plus 35.5 just on principle. Utah, obviously going to be fine against Wyoming. 3.5 touchdown spread. Fun game. Go watch something else. TCU had a good game against North Carolina practically 2 weeks ago now. Kind of had a bye week because they played on the Monday night. I don't know if they have another non-conference game after this. Yeah, okay, they play SMU, so hopefully this game is a good momentum. They've already got good momentum from beating North Carolina. Hopefully this springboards them. They can beat SMU and, cruise into conference play looking great. I think TCU is going to be really good this year. Arizona State, man, this team also sucks. What a disappointment that was last week. This was a game that we needed to win. They lost to the worst team, if not the worst, one of the worst teams and in the SEC, and the Big 12 champion from last year lost to one of the worst teams in the SEC last year. Not a good look at all for the Big 12. So that was a bit miserable. Obviously, I don't know much about Texas State. They're, apologies, there's a Sun Belt team, so hopefully we win. It's going to be hot everywhere this weekend, apparently. I mean, I know it's Arizona, but man, what a disappointing time. Look at that. 92% chance to win, and then lost it at the end. Anyways, so bad games for Kansas State and Arizona State. Good game for Baylor. Great game for Iowa State. We won 16-13. Would have liked to win by more than that. I would have liked to score more touchdowns than that, but that's how this game goes. That's all I have. Watched the Bears absolutely throw away the game last night. Monday Night Football. That was miserable. I was aiming for Caleb Williams' 4,000 passing yards this season. Don't think it's going to happen. He looked great. And then all of a sudden he thought all of his receivers were 9 feet tall and throwing way over their heads. and he throws darts, unnecessarily hard balls. So whatever, got to watch Josh Allen come back against the Ravens. That was a really exciting game to watch. It's probably one of the more entertaining games I've watched for the NFL. Otherwise, I didn't really watch much. The Lions sucked, which was disappointing. I was high on them this year. I like the Lions. They lost Ben Johnson to the Bears, and now they both suck. Bears have always sucked, so I can't say there's much new there. I'm still hoping that the Bears do better than last season. One game to start isn't, the most indicative, but there's obviously some issues still going on. The O-line was way better, though. Can we appreciate that Caleb Williams at least had more time? But anyways, yeah, not too much with NFL. My fantasy team sucked. Oh well. Let me know what games you're watching this weekend. I will be living vicariously through you. I will not be home this weekend to watch many of the games. How your fantasy football teams did this first week, if you play. Hopefully they did better than I did. And I will see you next week. Hopefully with a 4-0 Iowa State team. Talk to you soon.